So at the end of last year, I put a message on Twitter saying that I was looking for a coach so I can actually try and get better at this game rather than just play it for fun. And while I got a few messages back, the one that caught me by surprise and was an immediate yes was the coach of Team Liquid, Xpere. Now, when I first put this message out, I did not think I would get a response from an actual RLCS coach, and better yet, one that would agree to do 6 months of training with me. But here we are. This is the first month of training with an RLCS coach, and this is what I learned. Please let me say to begin with that I have never said I was good at this game. In fact, you will notice if you ask a lot of players sitting around Grand Champ or higher, they will often say something along the lines of, "Nah, I'm trash," or "Nah, I'm washed." And I think the reason for this is, as you get better at the game, you start to understand that there is still so much further you have to learn. When you're beginning, you find people scoring simple goals and they're thinking they're the best. But that's because scoring a goal is somewhat difficult when you start off. Whereas as you get better, everything becomes second nature to everyone on the field. So in order to climb even higher, you need to dedicate and put in the hours to go even further beyond the rest of your rank. So while I know some of you lower rank players might think that GC is an incredibly high rank, we are all always making basic mistakes. Which is why these 6 months of coaching that is coming up will not just help me, but everyone to see what people truly need to work on when trying to progress. Starting off, the very first thing my coach said to me was, "Stop air rolling like that." Now, I do have a confession. I know I have a really bad air roll problem. When I was first learning air rolling, I developed a really bad habit of air rolling non-stop while I was going up for the ball. And in my head, this was so that I could get used to the movement and to better understand the control of the car. But since then, I fell into a trap of constantly air rolling every single time. And this is really bad. It's bad because there are so many times that the rotation of the car is going to make me slower to the ball, which means I'll get beat in the air more often than not. And it's also bad because unless I'm timing my car's rotation absolutely perfectly every time, there are going to be many times when I'm not hitting the ball optimally. It might come off the roof or one of the sides of my car and just not go in the direction that I wanted it to go. So, the very first thing we worked on for a week was just forcing myself to stop air rolling all the time. Instead, I was taught to just line up with the ball while on the ground, going for an aerial without air rolling, and then at the very last second, if I needed to angle my car differently in order to get a better touch, then I would air roll into position. This ensures that I'm not wasting any time or boost when getting to the ball, and making sure I'm getting there as fast as possible, while also giving me a much easier time actually hitting the ball where I want it to go. And I'm gonna be honest, this was really hard to get out of my system. I mean, even now, I still have a habit of doing it when I play on autopilot. It's pretty bad. But that is something that I have and will continue to work on. So to those of you at home, take in this advice and watch your own gameplay. If you are air rolling the entire time, try to stop that. Instead, line up beforehand and then aerial without rotating the car. Then, if you need to, air roll at the end. The next thing we focused on was speed. Now, speed is something that everyone can improve on as you improve in the game. The pace at which you play the game will increase the further up the ranks you go, because if you don't get faster, you don't really get to do much on the field and you're going to be falling behind. Now, personally, I have never thought that I was a fast player. I tend to play more passive and just hold back a bit. Now, when I told my coach this, he said we need to change that. And he told me to just start playing faster. And so I did. I tried playing faster, I was going for everything, turning my brain off and just playing the game as fast as I can. And this went pretty badly. I was blatantly missing a bunch of easy shots, not connecting with the ball very well in the midfield, and in general, was still finding myself late to a lot of the plays. And I'm pretty sure that's what the coach predicted because he stepped in immediately and told me a very simple tip that changed the way I play. He noticed that a lot of the time when I was trying to play fast, I was still defaulting back to playing a little bit passively, which meant that the nose of my car was often not facing the ball. Instead, I was trying to predict where the ball was going to go. So instead of facing the ball, my car would be slightly turned to one of the sides or just off a little bit. Now, this stops me from being able to get to the ball as quick as I can and means the opponent can see that I'm not ready for a challenge. By turning to face the ball the entire time and making sure I am ready to jump in and challenge whenever I can, I keep myself active in the play and can be ready if the opponent makes a slight mistake. If they lose control of the dribble for a second, or if they hit the ball slightly too hard out in front of them, you are already there for the 50-50. Keeping your nose facing the ball gives much better results than trying to predict where it's going to go and having to wait for that play to happen before you can do anything. Because in a faster paced game, what you expect might happen isn't always what happens. So for those of you learning, try to keep the nose of your car facing the ball at all times. Yes, of course, you can turn around to reposition slightly or to go get boost, but when you are actively defending or attacking, try to stay facing the ball so you can reach the play faster and have an easier time beating players to the ball. The last thing we touched on was actually very simple in concept, and we just realized I hadn't been doing it properly. But it doesn't take too long to explain it all. Because all the time I spent last year in casual matches, messing around and going for flip resets and everything, I had developed a tendency to stick near the ball and try to make weird shots work or try to get that extra touch in. And obviously, this is wrong. So what I had to get used to doing again was using smart rotations. This means leaving the play when you know a teammate can take the ball and would be in a much better position, and not just going for it for the sake of going. If you're taking the ball up the field and you make a play, you do not have to stay there to continue after the ball leaves your car. You have to keep in mind, you have teammates that are more than likely going to be following up with you. And as the defending team is going to do everything they can to stop you from scoring, the ball is most likely going to be cleared. So instead of hanging around after you make a play, simply rotate back and let your teammate be the next person to challenge. This also goes for times when the ball is being cleared down towards you, but you know you have a teammate behind you. If the ball is slightly awkward for you, or you know your teammate would have a better chance doing something with the ball, just let them take it. There is no point in making it difficult for yourself and your team just because you want to be the one to hit the ball. The best play is to let your teammate take the ball and to just fully trust them. A lot of times in game, you will find that your teammates are behind you and also ready to challenge the same ball as you. Learn to trust them and let them have the ball when they would be in a better position, and you will find yourself to be a much better team player, as it allows your teammates to work with you rather than around you. That was the first month of training. It was pretty much just the basics, but to quickly sum them up, try to hold off your air rolling until you need to so you can maintain your speed. Keep the nose of your car facing the ball at all times in order to be faster to challenges and apply more pressure, which actually also helps with the air rolling tip, because if you're facing the ball already, then you don't need to worry about lining up beforehand. And lastly, make your play and rotate away. It is that simple. You don't always have to score goals, the main thing is that you don't concede them. So rotate out and just trust your teammates to play their game. And hey, if they mess up, you'll rotate it back and you can cover them. But that is going to do it for today. Thank you all for watching. Xpere's socials will be in the description, so please do go check him out. This will more than likely become a monthly mini-series for about 6 months covering everything I learned from a professional coach. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Anyway, that's all from me. I'll see you next time.